In part one of this adventure, I travelled from Tainault to the remote island of Canna. Before heading for the island of Eigg, I camped overnight in the harbour, and my plan for the new day was to leave Eigg and head for the Arisaig skerries, round the coastline into Loch, then head into Loch Ailort, spend the night there before exploring lovely Loch Moidart. I awoke at sunrise in the morning. I camped in Eigg Harbour. It was another lovely day. David, whom I sat with at his fire the evening before, was packing up his tent and heading for home. I enjoyed a lazy breakfast of cereal and coffee, then let the drone loose for some morning exercise. It was lovely seeing Eigg from the air again. I was delighted to see a smooth sea and a blue sky full of sun. So when the drone returned, I packed up camp and headed for Arisaig. The cooling of skies shimmered blue in the lazy autumn haze as I skimmed happily across the sea towards the mainland. I was on my way to revisit the skerries of Loch, as it had been several years since I had last seen them. I've already uploaded that visit a few weeks ago, and if you wish to watch it again, it's called The Prettiest Place on the Planet, the Arisaig Skerries. So I won't include it again in this video. Once I had my fill of the skerries, I headed west and went round the headland into Loch. My first port of call being to see the sandy beach at Ardnamurchan. I confess I almost fell overboard when I saw the beach was deserted. It's one of the most popular beaches for walkers in the area. And then I saw why. I guess the crafty landowner, fed up with so many folk hiking his fields to camp in the sands, has put a small herd of belted Galloway coos in the vicinity of the beach. Belted Galloways are very pretty coos, but well known for not being too friendly to strangers. The sight of them did make me smile, as the beach was often left with discarded tents and burnt fire rings in the grass. I didn't land, but continued on my way along the coastline towards Castle Island. I knew I would have just enough water to pass inshore with care, as I had been this way many times before in the past, and I was thoroughly enjoying refreshing my memories of the area. It was such a lovely day, I decided to refresh more than just memories. I had my mask and snorkel with me, so I jumped into the water for a refreshing swim and to have a good clean of myself. I didn't see much of interest, except for some different flavours of seaweed. But then again, nothing else saw me as something of interest, and wondered if I was good enough to eat. So I guess it works both ways. I only lasted around 15 minutes in the water before I started to feel a chill, so clambered back in the boat and continued on my way, feeling a lot cleaner too. While camping can be a niche business if I don't wash. I was in no hurry to go anywhere on such a beautiful day, so happily explored every nook and cranny along the way, just sussing out places for future visits where I could anchor a boat and sleep in it overnight, sheltered from wind and waves. I smiled as I thought of this rocky cliff suffering growing plains as it was formed. Its layer lines were well contorted. I was now at Borrowdale Islands and mused at myself as a few years ago I landed in them all, in the hope of finding the lost gold hidden in the area during Bonnie Prince Charlie's days. Needless to say, I never found a penny of it, but I had a very enjoyable time searching for the wind. I then headed across the Loch to Loch, an abandoned hamlet, as I was now looking for somewhere to park the boat for the night. However, low tide meant I would have to sleep well out in the bay, which could prove rather exposed if the wind got up. So I decided to head into Loch Ailort, where I knew there would be more shelter spots to sleep. I headed for one of my favourite sandy spots in Ailort and landed for a look around. I found there was too much swell breaking in the beach to stay here for any length of time, so I decided to head deeper into the Loch. I started to trawl lures in the hope of catching some pink flesh fish supper. But when I saw the many expert fishermen perched on the rocks and not catching anything, I put the rod away again. I landed at a perfect spot for the tent, but changed my mind using it when I realised I would soon be in the shade as the sun went down. So I decided to sleep in the boat, enjoying the last of the sun in a very sheltered spot before falling sound asleep. And day 2 of this adventure was done. I slept like the proverbial floating log and was up before the sun rose behind Rochevin. The warm day and cold night air with no wind caused a lot of condensation during the night, and the boat tent was soaked. My sleeping bag was a bit damp too, so I wanted a bright sunny place to air it while I had my breakfast. So I headed for Ailort and Gober as it was in the sun. When I got there, I changed my mind as there was still a fair swell hitting the island. So I decided to continue on to Smiracy, where I knew of a lovely sheltered beach. When I got there, I wasn't surprised to see a tent, as it's one of the most popular wild camp spots in the area. There are 2 small beaches here, and the south-facing beach also had a tent, and as both beaches were in the shade, I decided to head to the north channel of Loch Moidart, as it would be in the sun. The North Channel lies between the mainland and Ely and Shona, and it's very shallow with lots of rocks guarding the entrance. So I kept the outboard and pick over as the low sun made it difficult to see. It's an extremely scenic way to access Loch Moidart, so going slow was no hardship. Although the North Channel widens and gets very much deeper in the middle of its length, it then narrows and shallows again as it enters Loch Moidart. Cars can access Ely and Shona at low tide here, as there's a ford. Even at high water, it's only a couple of feet deep. As soon as I entered Loch Moidart itself, I landed in a little rocky island for a much welcome coffee and late breakfast. I was then like a lizard in the sun for the next hour or so, letting my sleeping gear dry out, airing the inside of the boat, and leisurely letting the drone have a look around the area. I will end this video here, but it will be continued in part 3 of North of Ardnamurchan. The next episode will show just how lovely Loch Moidart and Ely and Shona are before I headed back round Ardnamurchan Point. I hope you've enjoyed both the clips and the music, as it's all my own work, and thanks for watching.